my name is King, and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience, the anime non-news show where we talk about the current goings-on in the anime and the manga industry with our very uneducated opinions. So, let's start with the first thing that came out over the past week or so that I didn't get to talk about on this past thing. For those of you guys who don't know, I was sick. And nobody knows because I didn't talk about it, but I was sick for no reason. So my family went out to San Antonio for Thanksgiving. They went to visit my mom's side of the family. I stayed up here, and I went with my girlfriend's family for Thanksgiving. And so they got sick while they were in San Antonio. And then when they came back, they passed it on to me. And so for the past probably, some of the day on Saturday, all of Sunday, all of Monday, all of Tuesday, and then probably the first half of Wednesday, I was under the weather. I was sick, did not feel good, had a fever, maybe like the flu or a cold. I don't know. I didn't actually check. I just felt bad, and so I stayed in bed. That was it. And so I didn't say anything, mainly because I was sleeping all day on Sunday, and so I just didn't say anything at all. But anyways, the first thing that I feel like every week I'm like giving an excuse as to why I didn't do an Otaku experience for something, and it is what it is. Take me as I am. Okay, so something that happened over this past week is a big story that we talked about a few months ago. Probably even one of the first Otaku experiences that we did. I think it could have been a bit later. But it is the Suicide Squad anime that Wit is doing. And apparently the official trailer came out this past week. I haven't seen it because I wanted to watch it here. And I guess we'll just talk about it. But yeah, it revealed. I don't know what they revealed it for. I don't know what stream this was. I don't know if this was like an event or something, but they posted this, and here is the trailer, and they luckily gave us subtitles here. All right, so here we go. Can we just talk about something real quick? I cannot stand isekai. Why is this an isekai? Why can't the Suicide Squad just be like the Suicide Squad and do stuff in the DC universe? Why do they have to go to some isekai reality? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why is this the case? I know that's a big trope, but I guess they gave the anime studios the right to do like the Suicide Squad, and they were just like, guys, Warner Brothers, isekai. We spitting? Like that seems to me what the thought process was. I'm just not a fan of it, but it's 7 seconds. Let's see what else they have. There's a lot of backlash I noticed to the Joker look. I don't think he looks that bad. I actually kind of like the fact that when he closes his mouth, it looks like he's smiling with all of these sharp teeth. But then he opens his mouth, and then you can see that that's just part of the makeup. I actually kind of like that look. It's interesting. I like a new iteration of the Joker every time we get one. And it's continuing through here, so I like that. Okay, there was Amanda Waller. This music, bro. Let's see. Oh, okay. They got isekai. No! Oh, this is like a full-on isekai. Are they gonna have to like fight the Demon King and like win or something? What the heck, guys? Guys, this is gonna be mid. Oh no! Oh no! No! I don't want to say that, but that's what it feels like. It feels like this is gonna be mid. Okay, here we go. What have we done? I think it looks bad. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like it. It doesn't look good to me. The first part where they were in the city, this was all fine. I guess I'm just used to Harley Quinn having a certain type of voice. And I don't know. I guess this voice actress is just doing something different. But I'm used to Harley Quinn having, she has that, I don't know what you would call it, but there's like a type of like a certain accent, I would say she has. But it's not really present here, but that's okay. That's not something that's imperative. I like the Joker design. I like all of this. And then as soon as like we get past the 26-second mark, I'm like, guys, I don't think it looks good. I'll check it out. Okay. I'll watch it when it airs. Oh, okay. Here we go. I'll watch it when it airs. It doesn't look good to me. I'll give it like 2 episodes. We'll see how it is. But it doesn't look that great. What are people saying about this? I love how we're living in a time where we actually get an isekai adaptation of the Suicide Squad. Something feels so unreal to witness. Yeah, because it's bad. This looks really fun. I disagree. This was crazy, fun, wild ride. The fact that you can get animated by Wit Studio. Well, yeah, Wit's doing an amazing job. The animation looks fantastic. The problem is what story they decided to do. Okay, look, people seem to like it. Okay, that's fine. I don't. I'm not a big isekai dude. I actively avoid isekai when a new anime season comes up, and it makes people upset. But anyways, I don't like to just be negative constantly, so I'm done talking about this. We'll talk about this whenever it comes out. They do say it has a 2024 premiere here on the Anime Corner article. Do they say what anime season it's coming out in? Nope, just 2024. Okay. Based that we're getting a trailer. It's not coming out in winter. It might come out in spring. I could see a spring release. Spring actually doesn't sound that bad of a release. I can see that being this. But most likely by summer. It's not going to be fall. They're not releasing a trailer a year in advance. So this is either summer or spring. And I'm leaning spring on this. But anyways, let's talk about something better here. Let's talk about something else. So award season has officially started. This is something that happens at the end of every year in terms of content, whether it's music awards, TV awards, anime awards, video game awards, etc. And so we're at that point where, and we'll talk a bit more about anime awards here in a second because Crunchyroll did some stuff for their upcoming anime awards. But The Boy and the Heron was not only nominated, but it won the first best animated film, the first major best animated film award of the award season, and that is the New York Film Critics Award. So they say New York Film Festival or New York Film Critics Circle announced the winners of their 89th annual awards on Thursday with Hayao Miyazaki's latest feature film, The Boy and the Heron, or literally How Do You Live, winning Best Animated Film. The film competed against Makoto Shinkai Suzume, as well as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Robot Dreams, and Elemental. And then they talk about the release here. So this is not something that I'm surprised by. This is something I actually anticipated. Because most of the talk at least in the Hollywood spaces, if you don't follow the Hollywood spaces, if you just watch this show and other anime shows, you probably don't know this, but in a lot of the Hollywood spaces, they're talking about how it's very likely that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will get nominated for Best Picture. And then this leads a lot of people to say that this means it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to win the Best Animated Feature award, but I'm saying maybe that doesn't have to be the case. Maybe that's boring. Maybe we shouldn't do that. And maybe what we should do is have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse be nominated for Best Picture, but then give The Boy and the Heron Best Animated Feature award. I think that could be like a nice happy medium, because this seems like this is going pretty crazy here. The reviews have been freaking outstanding on Letterboxd, on IMDb, on Rotten Tomatoes, on Metacritic. Everywhere you look, the reviews have just been stellar for this movie. And so I'm not surprised by this. The question is, how are they going to do it at the Oscars? Are they going to be like, well, we nominated Spider-Verse for Best Picture, so we have to give it that? Because they do that with foreign films. They do that with, if like Parasite gets nominated for Best Picture and Best Foreign Film, but it's the only foreign film to get nominated for Best Picture, then it's like, oh, gee, I wonder which one is going to win Best Foreign Film. But I think that if you're going to nominate something in the Best Picture category, then maybe you can still nominate it in its own category. But I wouldn't award it in there too, because it's just a dead giveaway. It's kind of boring. At least that's how I would do it. Just keeps that spontaneity there. But this is not surprising at all. Kicks off the award season as the best animated film, which, it's not out yet. I was actually supposed to see it on Monday night, but I was sick. And so I'm going to have to wait to go see it this weekend. And we'll talk about that. On the Sunday episode. But yeah, this is not surprising to me at all that this is the way it is. It'll be interesting to see how this and Spider-Verse continue throughout the award season, and if it pans out the way I'm hoping that it will at the Oscars, or if they'll do something different. Maybe The Boy and the Heron actually gets nominated for Best Picture. I don't know. Anything can happen. We live in a crazy world, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And then we have, speaking of anime awards, we have this. So Crunchyroll's anime awards happen every year. They're the biggest anime awards, and they're actually the awards that are like the most infamous. Like, everybody makes fun of them. Me, myself included. Just because they're audience voted awards. And the problem with audience voted awards is audiences aren't the best metric to review something. And not to say that audiences' opinions don't matter, but audiences, like casual audiences who are given the right to vote on these things, might not watch a whole bunch of shows in a year. They might watch, 8 shows across the entire year, and then they vote for one of those shows, where you have there are like 50 shows that get nominated for these things. And if you're only seeing less than, 20% of the things that are nominated, then why are you even voting? And so I prefer that judges vote, but the way the Crunchyroll Anime Awards work, the judges vote for the nominees, and then after that, they let the audience vote for the winners. Now, what was interesting was last year, something really unexpected happened. And I know that there's some people who try to clown on me for my reaction to this, but it's the correct reaction just based on how the Anime Awards played out. Throughout all of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards of this past year, we talked about it on the Otaku Experience when it happened. The entire awards, it was Attack on Titan sweeping everything. Then, all of a sudden, for Anime of the Year, Cyberpunk Edgerunners just shows up and takes it. And so I was just baffled and surprised as to how that could even be the case. And then everybody took that as me saying that I was like, oh, Cyberpunk Edgerunners didn't deserve to win. I hate it. I don't hate Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I thought it was underwhelming. I thought the second half was very disappointing. But I don't hate Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And I was very happy that it won because I know how many people like it. I was just like, how did it win when it didn't win any other award that goes into what makes the best anime award? And so that was just really, really weird. And so that led to me theorizing that maybe for best anime, maybe secretly they don't let the audience vote for that. Maybe they, let them vote, but they don't actually use that as the metric. They actually let the judges do that. Or maybe it's weighted. Maybe they take the judges' opinion more than the audience, but the audience opinion still counts into it. I don't know. They're not really privy into that. But here, as you can see, they say that they have revealed new categories for the upcoming ceremony. They always change their categories every year. It's very annoying, but here we go. Crunchyroll has revealed its latest categories for its 8th annual Crunchyroll Anime Awards, which is heading back to Tokyo on March 2nd, 2024. I will say this, the broadcast last year was awesome. They had a stage, they had a venue, they had performances. It was really, really cool. Anime fans around the world will once again have the ability to vote for their favorite shows. Full nominees will be revealed on January 17th, 2024, and have been selected by a panel of 2024 Anime Awards judges, which represent more than 100 global creatives, tastemakers, and influencers. The full list of Anime Awards judges can be found here. Okay, I want to see this. Hold on. Who are the judges? Okay, filmmaker, editor, Anime News Network, articles, writers, CEO, presenter, journalist, creator, anime connoisseur, otaku journalist, CEO. Okay, this actually isn't that bad this time. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more judges this year than there were last year. That might just be like a me thing. And that might be like objectively false, but it feels that way as I'm looking through this. There are a lot more here. And it seems like they have a lot more really, I would say based people, like people that might actually know what they're talking about. These are people who are journalists, people who write articles. These are like, Glass Reflection is a YouTuber that actually covers this stuff. Last year, they had like VTubers and things talk about it, which not to say that VTubers are like mid or anything, but VTubers are always streaming, and so they don't consume like all the anime, whereas Glass Reflection's job is to cover the anime industry and the anime seasons and things like that. And you have a lot of these critics, you have journalists. This makes me feel a lot better for this year. They scare me when they say on here, like, influencers. I'm like, what is freaking like Charlie D'Amelio going to be in here? Like what is going on here? Why is she here? But she's not here. So but those types of people, like people who have no business being here just because it'll get people involved. But this actually is not that bad, Crunchyroll. Not too shabby. Okay. So then they have this year's categories. 3 new categories have been added to the 2024 Anime Awards: Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, and Best Slice of Life. Besides those 3, the full list of categories have been retained from previous award ceremonies and are as follows: Anime of the Year, Best Action, Best Animation, Anime Song, Character Design, Comedy. Okay, so everything so far is good, except for comedy. I don't like that. Best Continuing Series. I don't remember if they had that last year. I don't think they do. Based Director, Drama. Skip this. Ending Sequence. Garbage. Film. Main Character. New Series. Good. Opening Sequence. Original Anime. Mid. Score. Supporting Character. And then VA Performance in all of the dubs. And then the awful Must Protect at All Costs character, which Anya won last year. That's what it's for. Okay. I don't remember them having these categories last year, and I could be wrong. But let me see if I can fact check this real quick, because I don't have it up right now, but let me see if I can ramble my way through this. But if that's the case, if these are new things, then one, I would say that I think they listen to me. And then two, very smart, Crunchyroll, that you listen to me because I'm based. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Okay, so this is from my thing last year. Okay, so let's see. They had Anime of the Year, Original Anime. Okay, they did have these last year. Okay, they had Best New Series and Best Continuing Series. Good. Because I had these on my Anime Awards when I did my Kingtanic Anime Awards 2 years ago. I didn't do one this year. But when I did that, I had New Series and Continuing Series. And I always thought that was strange that awards didn't do that, because, Anime of the Year just kept going to these, continuing anime. Like, it'll probably, Anime of the Year this year is probably going to be Yoshinoko, which is a new anime, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like Vinland Saga or Attack on Titan, which I'm not saying those don't deserve it, but it's a lot easier for sequels to perform really well at these awards because they already have that established audience, which was something that I noticed in awards, in these audience voted awards, and I just didn't like that bent to it. So even if a sequel wins Anime of the Year, you still want to have something like New Series, so that way, it can win. So New Series or continuing series. One of these two is going to be anime of the year. So these are the two you want to keep an eye on. As the awards are playing out, you want to keep an eye on new series and best continuing series to see how these go. So this is actually not that bad. I wonder how many more did they cut out here, because they had a bunch of goofy things last year that I thought. Or are these all the same? Or maybe there's more that I just didn't know about. Anyways, regardless, this actually doesn't seem that bad. Along with those judges, I still hate the fact that it's audience voted, or at least, here's something that I've always petitioned for with the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. You have to be logged into your Crunchyroll account to vote. I think that's a requirement, but I'm not for sure if that's a requirement. I think you just have to click on the link, and you're allowed to vote multiple times too, which gives more dedicated fans. It gives that anime an advantage, because if it's oh yeah, the My Hero Academia fans are super involved and they're going to be here every single day, well then it has an advantage. I think you should only be able to vote once, and it should be based off of your Crunchyroll account. Crunchyroll should be able to tell how many shows you watched in a year. And let's say you've only watched 10 shows. You should not be allowed to vote. They'll be like, hey, you know what? You can vote in this one category or something like that. But I think that if my personal benchmark has always been 28 shows. And I know that seems like an arbitrary thing, but here's how I did it. And maybe if you think I'm wrong, you can comment and we can have a conversation about that. But this is how I've always thought it might work out best. There are 7 days in a week. There are 4 anime seasons in a year. So that's, let's say you watch one show per day, not binge a whole show per day, but let's say you watch, when you're watching in an anime season, you watch 7 anime over the course of a week. So, one new episode a day. Like on Sunday, oh, and this episode of anime is airing. On Tuesday, oh, this episode of anime is airing. I dropped my mic. But, and then that creates what I would say is a decent minimum for that. It creates a decent, hey, this person watches a decent amount of anime. They have an opinion that is not a better opinion, but it's going to be a more educated opinion just because they've seen more shows. You know what I mean? They haven't just watched Jujutsu Kaisen. They've watched a bunch of other things. So 28 to me has always been maybe this should be your benchmark. And that doesn't mean you have to finish the shows. Let's say maybe they have a 3-episode rule. Hey, watch 3 episodes of this show, and we'll say that you've watched enough of it to make an opinion on it. And then let's say you watched just 28 shows, but you finished only 20 of them, and 8 you only watched 3 episodes each. Yeah, I still think you should be able to vote. Things like that. It's not like a full set, you have to finish 28 shows, but I think that there needs to be more of a benchmark to make sure that the awards are actually earned by the studios rather than just giving them to people who only watched Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan and Oshi no Koen this year, and then they're going to vote just for those 3 shows because those are the only 3 shows that they watched. Not to say that those shows aren't bad, but those are the only 3 shows that they watch. I think there's a problem there. It's the same thing with Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes, if you don't know, had a problem with a bunch of fake reviews in their audience reviews. Based on people who just didn't watch the movie. And so what they did, because Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes, you now have to log into Rotten Tomatoes with your Fandango account, and Fandango uses its algorithm to remember what movie tickets you've bought. And based on that, they know whether or not you've seen the movie. So hey, this person bought a ticket to this movie, you're allowed to review it, and it'll go up on the part. Now, they still allow everyone to review, but only the people that get displayed on part of the verified audience reviews are the ones who actually have a Fandango account and verified that they watched the movie. And I think that should be the case here. Since this is the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and you have to click a link on the Crunchyroll website to go to vote to the awards, then take advantage of the fact that you're using their account. Say, hey, we're going to read your account. We're going to see if you meet our qualifications for the shows that you watched this year. And that's it. And then, hey, maybe they didn't get to do it. Well, the voting period is 3 weeks long. So they still have, 2 weeks and 6 days to catch up on some shows. It's hey, let's say the benchmark is 28. It's like, hey, you watched 26 shows this year. Watch 2 more and then you're allowed to vote. Okay, so the person goes and watches like a few more episodes of anime over the next 2 weeks. Then they come back and now they're allowed to vote. It doesn't matter which shows they watched. Just it matters that they watch have a decent palette of what's going on throughout the year. So that way they can have a more educated opinion when they vote. That's like my only thing here to make it better. Either that or just make it judge voted. That's the thing about the Anime Trending Awards that I really like, is that they're still audience voted, but Anime Trending is a much more obscure website. It's much more, it's so deep in the anime community that you have to like dig and find for it. Not like super hard, but once you've been in the anime community for like a year or so and like actually are into it, you'll find it. You'll find the rankings, you'll find their awards and everything like that. And the people who vote in those awards usually watch a lot more anime because throughout the year, they're actively voting in the weekly reviews and stuff. Like that's what we talk about every week is, hey, here's the audience reviews for this season, this week in this season. Those are the people that are voting for those awards. So those people have a much more educated opinion because, over the course of an anime season, about 20 shows pop into that top 10 rating at some point. And so all of those people are then voting because they've seen however many shows in every season. They've seen like 40 shows that year at minimum or something like that. And so their opinion has a lot more education and nuance to it because they've seen so many more shows. That's all I'm saying. The 8th edition of the Anime Awards will take place at the Grand Prince Hotel Shin Takanawa in Tokyo on March 2nd, 2024, with a live ceremony hosted by voice actress Sally Amaki and entertainer John Kabira. The event will be streamed live for global audiences. And then more information can be found on the Anime Awards website and across Crunchyroll's social media channels. So here's their website, if you guys want to take a look at that. So here's the website. So to get to know the category and judges, then come back January 17th through the 27th, 2024, and vote daily for your favorite anime. We'll announce the results at our live show on Tokyo, March 2nd. So the voting period is 20 days from January 17th to January 27th. That is about a month and 10 days from today. And so that gives you a chance to catch up on some shows. I've actually not watched a lot of anime this year. Well, I've still watched like more shows than probably a casual fan. I've probably watched, like a good 25 shows currently. But I've also just had not the best year of watching anime. So I need to catch up on some shows and I'll probably be at like a good 40 by the time I actually vote. Not my best year in terms of watching shows, but enough that I think I can still have a decently educated opinion when I vote. If you want to know more about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, you can go to the website and then just click on the How It Works tab up here. You can scroll down and go through all of these things. They'll ask questions, yada, yada, yada. They have the categories here that you can see. They have the judges, and then they have the past grand winners here. So you have Cyberpunk Edge Runners in 2023. You have, I don't know why they changed the order of these. Where's Anime of the Year? Okay, Attack on Titan, the final season, part 1. Then they have, you can just keep doing this forever. I wish they would just list these in a certain way every single time instead of me having to dig around for it. Where is it? Did they not have a best animated show? Wasn't it Jujutsu Kaisen in 2021? I remember. Okay, but I don't see it here. But anyways, I remember it being there. Anyways, we're moving on. There you have it. Crunchyroll Anime Award things are done. We're moving on to something else here. Okay. So Attack on Titan has ended. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Gosh, I can't believe Attack on Titan ended a few weeks ago. Golly, time is flying. So Attack on Titan ended a few weeks ago. And we talked about it and it was awesome. And it was really long. It was like 85 minutes. And so now it's being released in other countries. And this is something that's kind of happened where in other countries, they're streaming the episode on Netflix, but they're calling it an inferior version. Now, if you have not watched the final episode of Attack on Titan and you care about spoilers, please don't watch this part of the show. You can skip to the next topic. But this is what we're talking about here. So the international Netflix subscribers are reporting that an edited version of the original 85-minute series finale of Attack on Titan is the only one available on the streaming platform. According to a Reddit thread on the Japanese Netflix iteration of Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3, trimmed down the ending of the movie-esque episode. The Netflix version ends with Mikasa Ackerman saying thank you to Eren Yeager at the tree he's buried at, followed by the end credit sequence. It removes the ending theme sequence performed by Linked Horizon, as well as the epilogue of time civilization advancing for better and for worse following Eren's death. So this is the part where they're talking about how when the credits roll, you see like the slideshow of like the images fading, where you see over time, over centuries of evolution, as the focus of the shot is the tree that Eren's buried at. We see Mikasa get buried there, and then in the background we see Eldia, become more advanced, and then by the end it's like this super, it looks like freaking Coruscant from Star Wars. It's like super advanced and like everything's blowing up, and it has like weaponry that is more advanced than anything we had seen in the anime up to that point. And apparently they actually removed this. The removal of the epilogue to Attack on Titan finale part 3 is significant, as the montage of Paradise Island advancing economically and technologically, only to be reduced to rubble by the inevitability of war, serves as a harsh critique of humanity. Most significantly, the epilogue ends with the scene of a boy and his dog from The Last of Us. Like, that's what it looked like. It was like, I was like, is this The Last of Us? What are we watching here? Stumbling upon a massive Titan-sized tree in the woods where Eren was buried. The final scene implies that humanity is doomed to repeat the horrifying rise of the Titans. For North American viewers, the streaming versions of Attack on Titan, the final season. So we have the uncut version in America on Hulu and on Crunchyroll, but they cut it down on Netflix in other countries, which is really, really fascinating. And so I'm not going to go through this whole thread here, but people were talking about this. And so it's now an hour and 1 minute instead of an hour and 25. So they cut out a lot. So you can watch it on Hulu. And then what we found out is, and it's in here somewhere, but they have this conversation here. I read this thread earlier, and you guys can read this later. They're going to release the full edited version of the episode on the Blu-ray release rather than just on Netflix, which leads us to two theories. Either A, they just wanted more money, but then if that's the case, why didn't they do that over here as well? But then B, maybe they wanted in these other countries, they wanted it to be a lot more like the manga ending. They want it to be a lot more like the manga ending and remove all of the stuff that was added for the anime, like it going so far into the future. And maybe some of that extra dialogue that added that context, which is probably what added, if you do that throughout the entire thing, if you start trimming things out everywhere here and there, you can see how it would drop from here to there. And so I think that this is just so like goofy. Like why? Like why? This is the version. Like that's what the episode is. That's what Isayama gave the green light to. That's what MAPPA made. Why is it this way? And also just taking out the credits just as a whole. Like, oh, so suddenly the episode just ends and it's like, oh yeah, we won't even like give honor to the people who animated this. Like, what? Like, why are we just taking out the credits? Like, maybe take out the sequence, but leave the credits in. But no, they cut out the credits too. This is just really, really weird. And I don't really see any way of like properly rationalizing this other than to say that maybe they just wanted it to be a lot like the manga ending. But the anime is not the manga, and Isayama signed off on the different choices that they made in the anime to fit the anime ending better. I don't understand this. It's just really strange. And all this is going to do is keep adding fuel to the fire that is the piracy market in the anime community. People in the anime community really like pirating things, which is not a good thing. But you can see how sometimes they feel like it's necessary because these are people who just want to watch the episode. But no, it's like, oh yeah, here's on Netflix, a cut version of it. And then here's a Blu-ray release that's cost like $60 here. You can watch the extra 15 minutes here. Like, why would you do that? Like, just put it all on Netflix. I don't really understand. There's not an official statement about this. It's just something that people in other countries finally went to watch the episode that they had been waiting for. And then they just had this awakening, like, this is not right. Like, they probably watched the episode. They probably avoided spoilers, watched the episode, went to watch spoiler talks on it, and then there were things that the people were talking about that weren't in the episode that they watched. It's just baffling to me. Like, how, like, why? The fact that they didn't even release a statement about this, and they're just going to be like, yeah, it's on the Blu-ray, guys. Just buy the Blu-ray. Guys, it's only $60 for, like, a disc. Just buy it. Come on, guys. Like, I don't understand this. All this is going to do is lead to piracy, and then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, why are people pirating? It's because of stupid decisions like this. That's why. Anyways, we're moving on here to something that is a lot more better, a lot happier, maybe, possibly, hopefully, maybe, possibly. And that is this. So we talked about the Legend of Zelda movie, how it's getting a live action film. And we talked about the divide in which the audience was like, some of them, including me, wanted it to be more of like a Ghibli style thing. Some people, I also didn't think this was a bad idea either, wanted it to be maybe in the Mario style animation if they were going to build to like Smash Bros or something like that. And then there were people who wanted to do it live action. Obviously, live action won, and that is the way that they're doing it now over at Sony. But the director said something really, really interesting, and they said apparently that it will bring the Ghibli magic. This comes to us from Anime Corner, where they say, The Legend of Zelda live-action film, still without a release date, will supposedly bring the magic of Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki. Director Wes Ball outlined his vision of the upcoming film adaptation as this awesome fantasy adventure movie that isn't like Lord of the Rings. It's its own thing. I've always said I would love to see a live-action Miyazaki. That wonder and whimsy that he brings to things, I would love to see something like that. Whether Ghibli translates well into live action is yet to be revealed. However, the director's passion for the film is evident as he adds, it's going to be awesome, Ball promises. My whole life has led up to this moment. I grew up on Zelda, and it is the most important property, I think, that is untapped IP, if you will. So we are very much are working hard to do something. We're not just trying to do it because we can. We really want to make something special. So that's good to hear. This is actually really good to hear. At first, I was just kind of like, when I first heard about this, I was like, maybe he's just trying to silence the Ghibli people, the people who wanted it to be made by Ghibli, and just be like, guys, it is like Ghibli. It's just live action, and Ghibli has nothing to do with this. But it's it's gonna be like Ghibli. Something that I think is interesting here is he says it's not like Lord of the Rings, which is something that I talked about a lot, which was, how do you even approach making a Zelda film? And then I was like, maybe you try to do Lord of the Rings. Maybe you try to do a big, grand, epic story, maybe over a couple or 3 films or something like that, where each film isn't really its own film, but more a chapter and a larger story. But he's saying it's not like that. And I assume he means the tone. I assume he's going for more of Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle or Princess Mononoke, rather than the gritty tone of Lord of the Rings. Which would be really interesting. This makes me feel more like he's going for the book feel of The Hobbit, which I've read, which is much more lighthearted and more magic type, I would say, than Lord of the Rings has magic, but I would say it's more whimsical, The Hobbit. It's much more lighthearted. And I think that is much more akin to what Ghibli is like. And so maybe that is maybe what he's going for, is more of that lighthearted, that whimsy, that magic, that feeling of wonder, and that you're being transported to another place. But I mean, Lord of the Rings did that too. It's just a lot grittier. I think what he's trying to say is mainly talking about the tone. I think he's trying to say that it's not as dark as Lord of the Rings, which I don't really know if tone's a big deal. I think as long as it's just, if it captures the right feel, I think you can do it in a lighter tone or in a darker tone, but it matters about the feel that you have. But he sounds very confident about it. He sounds like he really cares. And so I take this as a positive thing. But it is a little weird that he straight up says it's Ghibli, which is interesting because a lot of people kind of wanted this to be a Ghibli film and not live action. But, we get what we get and we don't throw a fit. That's right, everybody. And then we're going to move on into the last thing that happened this week. And it's been happening throughout the week. It just keeps getting bigger. And it's more MAPPA stuff, particularly with Jujutsu Kaisen. But it's more MAPPA debacle stuff. So for those of you guys who don't know, MAPPA is just being a big old goof lately. Not treating their workers fairly, not giving them time to make things. Very bad work conditions. People are getting suicidal. People are quitting. People are speaking out even though they were told not to and signed an NDA. It's just really, really bad. And it just keeps getting worse every single week. And here's another week in the update. And I'm just really tired of talking about this because I want things to change. So there's about 5 articles here that we have to go through. They're all from CBR. And we're just going to kind of go through these. These aren't like all part 1s and part 2s of each other, but they're all connected in the sense that they're all part of the same overarching problem. And then we can kind of see the connections as we go through them. So, Jujutsu Kaisen animation director industry will collapse in only a few years. So obviously, without even reading the article, I think our immediate thought process is that the anime work environment is so toxic and so bad for the people involved outside of like executives that they're just going to stop working there and it's just going to collapse. That's just my theory. We'll see what he says. The latest comments by Jujutsu Kaisen Zero's chief animation director raised serious alarm bells about the anime industry as a whole. Hold on. Okay, here we go. On November 28th, 2023, prominent animator in Jujutsu Kaisen Zero CAD Terumi Nishi stated on X, formerly Twitter, that the industry only has a few years left before it collapses. Seriously, it's over. Once Kagawa's generation leaves, everything will end at once, and we need to do something about training scheme by then. Kagawa refers to Hisashi Kagawa, the prominent animation director behind many Sailor Moon and Revolutionary Girl Utena episodes. Kagawa's special Sailor Moon artwork made headlines earlier this year, and Nishi worked alongside him with Utena movie as an assistant director. Nishi is part of the rising movement to improve working standards for animators in Japan, also seen with NAFCA. She's been calling for a training scheme for years, highlighting that a standard skill test is the only way to raise standards in the anime industry, and continued in a follow-up post. Animation studios can't handle nurturing new personnel because the ones who have been nurturing animators until now are freelance animators. It's impossible for clueless companies to understand numbers. Or it's impossible for clueless companies that only understand numbers. Based. True. This is the problem that we're seeing with MAPPA right now. They just want to top Kill Annie and UFO Table. That is directly what we've heard. They want to top those two. They want to be top dog, not in terms of just the IP that they're adapting, but in terms of animation quality, in terms of reviews, every single aspect. MAPPA wants to be on top of everything. And the way that they decided to do that was just load more projects on, give their people less time to do it, and then just kill them. That's basically it. They just kill them at their desk. They just, show up with a gun and bah, in the back of the head. This reality was made especially clear only a few days ago when Hiroyuki Kanbei, which is the director of Orimo, announced on X that he was leaving Studio Engi, the studio who made Uzaki-chan Who Wants to Hang Out. He voiced his sadness that the company was getting rid of its new employee training program. Nishi's warning follows her explosive interview 2 weeks ago, blasting the rising trend of companies outsourcing their work to Twitter animators while failing to train their own staff. She and voice actor Ayano Fukumiya had called on the U.S. acting union SAG-AFTRA to speak some sense into the youth, stating that the anime industry was crumbling. This is something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. The way that the Japanese work culture is so toxic that unions are very unpopular, which is very sad and not based. And so the only way that we've talked about that would really force the studios, in this case MAPPA, but in general force the studios as a whole across the anime industry in order to better working conditions for their animators, is that the animators have to unionize. But unionizing is so unpopular, and there's so many freelancers that there's so many this and this and this. There's so many variables that might go wrong. And so people just are scared to even try to unionize. And so then you have these people, these voice actors, and other people speaking out saying that they really wish that SAG-AFTRA would just come over and be like, hey, come talk to the freaking people and tell them to unionize and tell them how cool it is and tell them everything that happens with it, because they're not unionizing, and that's the only way things are going to change. Given recent events at MAPPA, it's hard for many to disagree that the industry is in a dire state. The mental health of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 staff has been pushed to the brink by unrealistic production schedules, with one animator commenting that the company was happy to push more work on him, but repeatedly stalled payment negotiations. Nishi worked on Jujutsu Kaisen 0, from which another staff member came forward recently to detail MAPPA's brutal expectations. The recent change to Jujutsu Kaisen streaming times in Japan is thought to allow more time for animators to polish episodes, which animators say aren't even close to completion. This happened, I think earlier this week or late last week, but we didn't talk about that because I was sick. But MAPPA has now permanently moved the Jujutsu Kaisen episode times, I think a few hours, not a big change, but a few hours. So that way the episodes aren't just getting finished to release, but they can actually make sure that they're polished before they go out. I mean, it's not the best scenario, but it just kind of shows how bad things are over there. Crunchyroll streams the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie and both seasons of the anime, which is described. Oh, okay. This is just a synopsis. Okay, I don't care. So that's one article there where they feel like the anime industry is going to collapse because the studios and the people of the previous generation of anime industry workers are not training this new generation to work properly in a new work environment, and the studios aren't going to do it. And so who's going to do it? And they're just setting up this new crop basically for failure. So going to this next one, this is deleted MAPPA tweet goes viral again after spreading to Instagram. I want to die quickly. Jeez. MAPPA faces further backlash after a deleted post from Jujutsu Kaisen animator with the message "I want to die quickly" makes its way to Instagram. And then here's a warning here. If you guys are sensitive to things like suicide and other things, you might want to skip ahead. MAPPA controversy continues after deleted X, formerly Twitter, post from a Jujutsu Kaisen animator stating, "I want to die quickly" resurfaced on Instagram. The original tweet, as seen below, was deleted 14 minutes after being posted, with fans and news outlets theorizing that this could be due to MAPPA's reported strict NDA contracts as well as Japan's defamation laws. Article 230 of the Japanese Penal Code states that penalties for defamation can include imprisonment for up to 3 years or a fine of up to 500,000 yen, approximately $3,400. For the same reason, CBR will not be disclosing the animator's name. This is one of many posts on X protesting MAPPA's working conditions to have been taken down shortly afterward. MAPPA, the renowned, hold on one second. Sorry. Okay. MAPPA, the renowned studio behind popular anime such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Attack on Titan, has come over fire over the previous month, especially due to reported inhumane working conditions of animators, including delayed pay negotiations, unreasonable deadlines, and overtime expectations, among other serious issues. Vincent Channard, a famous animator known for contributing to One Piece, Boruto, Castlevania, joined the Jujutsu Kaisen MAPPA team for the currently airing second season and announced on X that he would never work for MAPPA again. Another Jujutsu Kaisen animator, Okubo Shinosuke, released disturbing artwork that raised alarms over the mental health of MAPPA's employees. We've talked about these before. MAPPA is not the only Japanese production company that has come under scrutiny for underpaying and overworking employees and animators in particular. This has just been an unfortunate reality for many animators over the years prior to MAPPA's working conditions coming to light. However, when a work as popular as Jujutsu Kaisen is in production, especially one in such high demand internationally, deadlines and expectations can likewise become significantly higher. One Jujutsu Kaisen animator recently revealed that the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 anime film released in 2021 was completed in only 4 months, a staggering short time frame to produce a film of such animation quality. It should have been like a year and a half. MAPPA has also been known to source animators directly from X and other social media platforms. These animators are frequently young and relatively inexperienced, making such working conditions especially difficult. It is likely due to this sourcing that the conditions and resulting fan backlash against the company have come so starkly to light. Since these animators already had a notable social media presence, even a post that were quickly deleted garnered significant attention. In addition to complaints about payment and turnaround times, some Jujutsu Kaisen animators have taken to X to apologize for recent episodes, stating that their vision and the anime's production aren't up to standard. In response, fans have been criticizing MAPPA on social media for exploiting its workers, and several have stated that they would rather wait for quality animation than see animators and directors produce work they aren't proud of simply to release an episode sooner. MAPPA animators are 100% asking for help from a basement while being chained and forced to work. RDC World Skit was actually filmed at MAPPA headquarters. MAPPA seriously needs to be investigated at this rate. Hope animators and everyone who works for MAPPA really get their time. I really don't mind waiting long for the next episode. I just want the episode to look neat and well worked upon. So that's another article going over this. So, just more about the mental health or lack thereof of the people working on it. And then some decent news, I guess, is that season 2 is still outselling season 1, even despite the controversy. If anything, I feel like the controversy has almost shed light on just this season as a whole. The controversy, everybody's like, what is this all about? And then they check it out. And so that can help out with the sales as well. But no one's mad at like the brand Jujutsu Kaisen or anything like that. We're upset at how the executives and how just the environment as a whole at MAPPA is treating the people who actually do most of the work on the show, because it's just not good. But I'm not really going to talk about this article. Animator goes home 30 minutes a week and other disturbing trends in animated health report. A recent survey finds that a shocking proportion of workers involved in creating anime have developed mental illnesses. NHK reported on a survey by the Japan Animator and Director of Association, which found that 17% of those involved in anime production currently suffer or have suffered from mental illnesses such as depression. 429 people were consulted, with 73 admitting mental struggles. Additionally, 291 people, or 68%, said they felt mentally fatigued, and 66% felt physically fatigued. An anecdote from the report revealed that a female animator from Tokyo would only go home for about 30 minutes a week, bringing shampoo and towels so that way she could sleep in her studio. I continue to work as an animator because I find it rewarding, she added, but I've seen many people suffering from mental illness up close. I want people to think about how anime producers are treated. The demand for anime continues to rise, with the Japan Animator and Director Association revealing that the number of anime titles released this year hit 310. The medium continues to be one of Japan's biggest cultural exports. The Netflix anime's head, Kohei Obara, revealed that half of its 222 million customer base had watched some anime the year prior. Nevertheless, the same streaming service was slammed by Jujutsu Kaisen Zero's chief animator Terumi Nishi for its larger anime budgets not trickling down to the actual workers. Based. The current desire to satisfy demand needs that less qualified people continue to be hired in the anime industry, meaning senior animators like Nishi must do more work to correct mistakes. Nishi continues to be one of the most outspoken voices in the industry, calling for a skill test to stop production companies from diluting their market with rookie animators, and going as far as to say, at this rate, the anime industry will collapse. The anime industry will collapse in only a few years, which we just talked about. There have been a few more notable instances of the anime industry's poor work conditions than fall 2023's Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, animated by Studio MAPPA. It's become nearly a week affair for new allegations to resurface, with each more staggering than the last. While the problem may get glossed over with funny anime scenes of animators destroying their workplaces, alarm bells were raised last month over 2 posts from different MAPPA freelancers, with the second one depicting a graphic image highlighting their mental state. The industry doesn't need to be this harsh for workers. Kyoto Animation is hailed as the industry leader for its better production schedules. With this, with this reflected in some highest quality anime adaptations to date. However, only last month, MAPPA CEO Manabu Otsuka outlined his plan to catch up with the likes of KyoAni and Ufotable by producing more anime quickly, prompting widespread condemnation across the anime industry. I just mentioned this. And the thing that's funny about this is that Kyoto Animation is is the industry leader for its animation. But if you look at that, it has like some of the best production schedules of the entire industry, maybe the best. And the reason why you get such amazing show results is because of that time that they have to work on the stuff. This mindset appears to be why Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 director Sung-Hoo Park left the company to found EH Productions, which will be producing the upcoming anime adaptation of Eiichiro Oda's Monster. That's a one-shot manga by the author of One Piece, and that's coming out, I think, next year, and it's going to be like 2 or 3 episodes. Chainsaw Man director Ryu Nakayama also seemed to imply last week that he had left MAPPA, teasing plans of a studio free from harassment. I think you're going to see this continue, this mass exodus from MAPPA, from like particularly super big or more experienced people. They're going to leave, and then you're just going to have more inexperienced people being there, and it's just going to keep getting worse. And then our last article from CBR is this one. Even Jujutsu Kaisen Satoru Gojo thinks MAPPA animators deserve a raise. The English dub behind Jujutsu Kaisen popular Gojo Satoru, Keiji Tang, leads the growing calls for MAPPA to treat its employees better. The English dub voice behind Jujutsu Kaisen Gojo Satoru has stated that MAPPA animators deserve better treatment. Popular voice actor Keiji Tang, also known for his work on the likes of Dragon Ball Super, Berserk, Bungo Stray Dogs, and The Apothecary Diaries, recently voiced support for workers at MAPPA who will continue to produce masterpieces despite horrendous production schedule. In his capacity as both a professional and a fan, he called for pay raises and more time for them to get it right, along with the comment to give the superhuman animators the rest they deserve. The post was shared thousands of times on Twitter with universal agreement. Tang is one of the most recognizable English language voice actors in the industry and continues to make headlines for his current role as Gojo. Tang also receives plaudits for his work outside of anime, including video game and live-action titles. Notably outspoken, Tang has called out Crunchyroll and the voice acting industry more broadly, most recently spotlighting the new deal with the SAG-AFTRA agreement with the studios. Unless the AI protections language in this deal is radically overhauled for the better, Tang posted on November 15th, I am voting no on this deal. I am not willing to throw this entire job away for a short-term gains. In an ironic twist, the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero chief animation director recently invited SAG to help fix the crumbling anime industry, putting into perspective that no matter the country, difficult conditions continue to oppress everyone involved in anime creation. Whether MAPPA grants a break or not, many will not be returning to the company after the completion of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. One of the most popular One Piece and JJK animators recently said in no uncertain terms that he would never work for MAPPA again. This follows numerous allegations of delayed payment negotiations and unfeasible deadlines, manifesting in serious mental health concerns for at least one episode director. And then they talk about the synopsis there. So there's your update on just the whole situation. My brain is like fried. It's such an awful situation. And the fact that it's gone on for so long with no signs of change, in fact, just signs that it's getting worse, it's heartbreaking. And we need to have these, we need to just have like these people just kind of like leave MAPPA. And that's really the only thing I can think of is just let MAPPA die. Just let it burn. And I love MAPPA, but just let it burn down if this is the way it's going to go. Just let everybody leave. Just let Jujutsu Kaisen never meet its deadline. And maybe then MAPPA will be like, okay, fine, come back. But as it's going right now, everything we just talked about there, it sounds like that's not going to be the case. They're very unlikely to try to unionize. They're very unlikely to try to really do anything to try to turn this around other than just, talk on social media, which is a good thing. You should really fight for this type of stuff, but they need to they really need to just they need to fight a lot more. I mean, I know it's hard. And it's easy for me to say it because I'm not like actually there involved in this industry. But as someone who talks about it and it's hearing about all these things. The only thing I can think to do is they have to fight. And that's what these higher ups and these people more experienced are saying, is that they have to unionize. They have to do something about it. And I guess we'll just see how it pans out in the future. But it's just awful the way this keeps going. And it's just very, very heartbreaking. But yeah, I don't really know how to transition out of this. Now we're going to move on into the anime rankings. Let's get all happy all of a sudden. Okay, here we go. We'll start with the anime trending rankings, and then we'll go to the anime corner rankings. So in the first place, we have Spy Family Season 2, which went up 3 spots to number 1. I haven't seen Spy Family. I'm trying to be totally honest with you. I haven't watched it. I watched the first season. I loved it. I haven't watched the second season. I just have no desire. They've been going for 10 episodes now. Then we have the Apothecary Diaries going down 1 spot to number 2. At number 3, we have Frieren Beyond Journey's End, which went down 1 spot, which I just caught up on Frieren. Dude, I mean, I already knew it was anime of the year, but guys, it's so good. Undead Unluck goes up 3 spots to number 4. The Eminence in Shadow Season 2 has spent 2 weeks at number 5. 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You goes down 3 spots to number 6. And then at number 7, we have Dr. Stone New World Part 2, which goes down 1 spot. The Rising of Shield Hero goes up 2 spots to number 8. Shangri-La Frontiers has spent 2 weeks at number 9. And Ragna Crimson is a new entry into the top 10. Welcome. Going over to the Anime Corner ranking. At number 1, we have The Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess, which went from spot number 10 up 9 spots to number 1. And I got 5.87% of the vote. Spy X Family Season 2 went up 5 ranks from rank 7 to rank 2, and that got 5.61% of the vote. Dr. Stone New World Part 2 stayed at the same rank at number 3, and that got 5.4% of the vote. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 went up 1 spot from rank 5 to rank 4, and that got 4.71% of the vote. Frieren Beyond Journey's End went down 3 spots from rank 2 to rank 5, and that got 4.44% of the vote. Ragna Crimson went down 5 spots from rank 1 to rank 6, and that got 4.44% or 4.40% of the vote. Undead Unluck went up 1 spot from rank 8 to rank 7, and that got 3.5% of the vote. And wrapping it out here, we have the Apothecary Diaries go down 4 spots from rank 4 to rank 8. That got 3.5% of the vote. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You went up 4 spots from rank 13 to rank 9, and that got 2.92% of the vote. And The Eminence in Shadow Season 2 went down 4 spots from rank 6 to rank 10, and that got 2.86% of the vote. Going over to the comments and questions. If you guys want to get your comment or question read on the next episode of the Otaku Experience, all you have to do is just hop down there, and then hopefully I'll talk about it on a Sunday episode, which we haven't done in weeks. It's ridiculous. But anyways, here we go. So Ron C166 says, hey, King T, have you watched Blue-Eyed Samurai? More adult animated episodes. I enjoyed it very much. The style of the animation is fantastic. Personal opinion, of course. What are your thoughts if watched? I've seen a clip. I saw a clip where there was this pit with a bunch of spikes in it, and he threw all the guys in the pit. It was so violent. It was awesome. But I actually have not seen it. I've heard great reviews, such as yourself, and I want to get around to watching it, but I'm so behind on this current anime season as is that the holidays, I kind of got behind on everything. So I need to catch up on this. And then I still really want to make time to watch Blue-Eyed Samurai. But I just haven't had a chance just yet. But another recommendation. Thanks. A Durian J says, get me Giguk. He's unavailable. Then get me his non-union Mexican equivalent. Are you referring to me? Is this because I had a mustache? That's freaking racist, dog. I'm not even gonna pass you on that. That's just racist. Okay, so you're racist because I had a mustache, so I'm Mexican. And what do you mean non-union, bro? I'm so pro-union. What do you think I've been talking about all these weeks with the Jujutsu Kaisen thing? What are you on about, dude? Okay. Anyways, I don't even know how to respond to this. Okay, bye. Luis X Sparrow. The Witcher, I can't believe he just called me Mexican. Okay, The Witcher Blood Origin was intended to be a spin-off series. My understanding is that it retconned some things from the books that fans were not happy with, and it was generally considered to be the worst fantasy show of that year. I actually disagree with that. Then I watched Willow and Rings of Power, and don't have an attachment to the Witcher books. I mostly enjoyed it, but I'd rate it with the old fantasy B movies, which is definitely not meant to be. It was not well put together, and you don't want to look too closely because of the plot holes. What I can't tell is how much the writer, the production, or the overall studio. Okay, I see what you're trying to say. So this comes to us, talking about the Naruto situation, the Naruto live action movie. They hired this writer who seemed really nice, but then we looked into what she wrote, and only one thing she had written on IMDb actually had reviews, and they were not good reviews. They're actually very, very bad reviews. And so I was just kind of like, maybe the Naruto movie is going to be mid. Oh no. But hey, if you enjoyed, The Witcher Blood Origin, I'm glad. I can't tell if, you said you mostly enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm happy you enjoyed it. I have not seen it. I really have no interest to watch it, but the reviews do not strike me as good. And I've liked things that a lot of people don't like. So maybe I would really love The Witcher Blood Origins if I watched it, but I have not seen The Witcher and I have no interest in watching that. But thanks for that. I mean, there's another opinion to throw into there. And then Marcus Squandoles says, I hit into anime from One Piece. Do you mean you got into anime from One Piece, like the live action one? Like now you're into the anime industry? That's really cool, man. I'm glad. Welcome. Who'd have thunk that a live action Hollywood adaptation of anime brought people into the anime fold? Welcome. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the anime community. And anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. The MAPPA situation is just continually gets goofy and goofy and goofy and goofy and goofy and goofy. With no hopes of it turning around. Hopefully we're talking about some good news this next week, because I'm so sad about this. The Suicide Squad thing, I'm sorry. I don't think it looks good. Call me crazy. I think it looks buns. Also, the live action Yu Yu Hakusho is coming out like pretty soon. But no one's talking about it, which is why I'm not covering it. So I guess we all just kind of collectively agree that we don't care. But anyways, so that's going to do it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. Hopefully I don't get sick or anything crazy happens. That way I can finally do a Sunday show, because I really want to do one. And I feel bad every time I don't do one. And then I come to do a Thursday episode and I'm like, hey, here's why I didn't do a Sunday episode. I'm tired of doing that. Hopefully I can do a Sunday episode. With that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe to the Burnettwork if you haven't already. Subscribe to my main YouTube channel, Kingtanic. As you can see, all the links are here. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next episode, which is hopefully going to be on Sunday.